Why do Brock Lesnar's teeth look so weird? Fans have noticed that Lesnar's bottom teeth look like they've been cut in half. While Brock hasn't publicly stated why his teeth look this way, there are some theories. One is that Lesnar chews tobacco. Lesnar has been spotted dipping, and this can have a negative effect on teeth. However, another theory is that Brock Lesnar suffers from bruxism. It's a condition where someone unintentionally grinds their teeth either awake or asleep. This can cause teeth to crack and wear down, similar to what appears to have happened to Brock Lesnar's teeth. Why was The Miz given a fake WWE Championship? At WrestleMania 27, Miz walked in and out as WWE Champion, but the belt he carried wasn't the real WWE title. It was a replica WWE would sell to fans. What's shocking is that it was actually The Miz's choice not to use the real belt. The Miz chose to use the replica because he wanted to keep the belt as a memento. Obviously, WWE wasn't going to let Miz keep the real WWE Championship, so he used a replica belt. That way, even after he lost the title, he would get to keep the exact belt he wore forever. What do WWE wrestlers do when they are under the ring? Wrestlers like The Undertaker, Kane, The Boogeyman, and Hornswoggle were famous for appearing from under the ring. But what would they do while they waited for their cue? For The Undertaker, WWE would actually leave food under the ring for the dead man while he waited, like steak and other high-quality meals. WWE also provided food for Bray Wyatt, but he was only given sandwiches. Hornswoggle said he would sometimes spend up to 7 hours under the ring. As such, he would take naps or bring his PSP gaming device to kill time. Why did WWE change Big Show's theme song from this it's the Big Show to this? It's the Big Show. Big Show's music changed in 2006 when he turned heel and became the ECW champion. The change was because the original theme song was upbeat and had a faster tempo, which didn't fit with Big Show's slower way of moving. When the heel turn happened, it provided an opportunity to slow the music down and make it sound more sinister. In 2025, John Cena will be 48, but his wife will be 36. WWE couples with huge age gaps. Sheamus got married in 2022 to a woman named Isabella Rivia. Sheamus will be 47 in 2025, while his wife will turn 30. Rob Van Dam married fellow wrestler Katie Forbes. Van Dam will be 55 in 2025, while Forbes turns 36, a 19-year age difference. Bret Hart's wife, Stephanie Washington, wasn't even born when the Hitman started wrestling. In 2025, the Hitman will turn 68, and his wife will be 42, making them 26 years apart. In December 2015, Jerry Lawler, who was 66, got engaged to a 27-year-old woman named Lauren McBride, a 39-year age difference. It's not clear if they are still together, but in 2018, Jerry Lawler suffered a stroke while getting intimate with McBride. Lawler thankfully made a full recovery. This is why Batista hates Bubba Ray Dudley. In his book, Batista shared a story from 2003 when he and Randy Orton were wrestling Bubba and Devon Dudley at a non-televised WWE show. During the match, Bubba fell on Orton's foot and broke it. According to Batista, it was Bubba's fault, not Randy's. Despite this, Bubba Ray Dudley yelled and screamed at Randy Orton, even when Orton was being stretchered into an ambulance. Batista also added that Bubba broke an unwritten wrestling rule when he didn't call or check up on Randy while he was recovering. Why did WWE keep using the Spinner WWE Championship belt even after John Cena lost it? When the Spinner belt was introduced in 2005, it was only supposed to be used for Cena, and the original belt would be brought back once someone defeated him. However, John Cena held the WWE Championship for 8 months, and during that time, WWE started selling replica belts. The replica belts sold extremely well, and despite some fans and even other wrestlers not liking it, WWE made the Spinner belt the permanent WWE Championship design for 8 years. The level of disrespect this person showed The Undertaker was incredible. In 2016, a picture of LeBron James wearing an Undertaker t-shirt went viral. Because of this, The Undertaker traveled to Cleveland, Ohio to meet with LeBron. The dead man got completely in character, and while he got to meet LeBron's teammates, the man himself ghosted Taker. The reason was that LeBron James felt that The Undertaker was trying to use him to promote himself. Was that Owen Hart's blood in the ring after his death? In May 1999, WWE hosted a pay-per-view event called Over the Edge. One of the wrestlers, Owen Hart, was meant to make a spectacular entrance by being lowered from the top of the arena into the ring. However, the harness holding Owen snapped and he fell to his death. In a controversial decision, WWE decided to keep the show going after Owen's body had been removed. Once the show resumed, fans noticed a red stain on the side of the ring. Was this Owen Hart's blood? Earlier in the show, Jeff and Matt Hardy were competing in a tag team match. After the match, the Hardys had red liquid dropped on them from the Brood, and you could see Matt Hardy's arm brush against the side of the ring, proving that the red stain was not Owen Hart's blood. This WWE wrestler was forced to remove part of his attire in the middle of a match. On an episode of Raw, Bobby Lashley was teaming up with Roman Reigns to take on the Revival. In the middle of the match, the referee stopped what he was doing to tell Lashley to take off his headband. The reason was that his headband had Nike's logo on it, and they were not a paying sponsor. These are the highest paid WWE wrestlers in 2025. Number 10 is Rhea Ripley. She's the only female wrestler to make the list with a salary of $6 million. Numbers 9, 8, and 7 are tied between Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, and Finn Balor, who will all make $7 million this year. Numbers 6 and 5 are also a tie between, ironically, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, who will both earn $8 million in 2025. Even more ironic is number 4, Seth Rollins, who will get paid $9 million in 2025. Numbers 3 and 2 are a tie between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, with each man making $10 million this year. But the highest paid wrestler in 2025 is Roman Reigns at $15 million. WWE moments that didn't age well. Primo would have gotten in so much trouble had he done that to AJ Lee today. This sign takes on a whole new meaning nowadays. Shane McMahon really said this about his sister.
As my father put, that I heard, I'm not quite as built as Deborah is, so...
Your character is nothing to do with that.
Smaller puppies, that's all.
But thank you, you don't have to elaborate.
They're cute.
Thank you.
But
what Michael Cole said about Chris Benoit aged like milk.
How he has sacrificed everything. He sacrificed his family. He sacrificed his own life.
A WWE wrestler and an AEW wrestler both have the exact same tattoo. Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm have matching tattoos on their left arms. The tattoo is 3 X's, 1 V, and 3 I's. So what does it mean? Well, in Roman numerals, those letters give the date October 28th. Why did Ripley and Storm have that date tattooed on their arms? October 28th, 2018 was the date of WWE's first all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution, and the date that Toni Storm won the Mae Young Classic Tournament. Why did The Undertaker wear a wig on Raw? When the Dead Man returned to WWE in 2012, fans noticed something was wrong with Undertaker's hair. It turned out the Phenom was wearing a wig. WWE did this because The Undertaker had cut his hair the previous year, and they wanted to keep it a secret until WrestleMania 28. The reason Undertaker shaved his head was because he found it a hassle to maintain long hair, and didn't see the reason to keep it once he was no longer wrestling every week. This girl lost her job with WWE because of her boyfriend. In 2013, WWE debuted a new wrestler called Fandango. Fandango needed a female dancer to accompany him to the ring, so WWE held auditions. Hundreds of women auditioned, but it was a 20-year-old college student named Andrea Lynn who got the job. Andrea was supposed to make only one appearance, but WWE loved the chemistry she and Fandango had, so they made Andrea a permanent part of the show. Things took a turn for the worse when Andrea's boyfriend attended a show and was hanging out backstage. The boyfriend didn't like how the wrestlers were looking at Andrea, and he convinced her to quit. However, Andrea eventually broke up with her boyfriend, and she called WWE to try to get her job back. Unfortunately, it was too late, because WWE had found a new dancer for Fandango, and Andrea never returned to WWE. This WWE rule was created because 2 wrestlers refused to lose. When the steel cage match was first introduced, wrestlers were not allowed to escape the cage. The only way to win was by pinfall or submission. This worked fine for decades, but in the 1970s, WWE was hosting a show in Madison Square Garden. The main event was a steel cage match between Bruno Sammartino and Stan Hansen. However, neither man wanted to be pinned. To solve this problem, WWE introduced a new rule where a wrestler could also win a steel cage match by escaping the cage. Both wrestlers were okay with this, and the rule is still part of WWE to this day. This guy wanted to get a hug from Bayley, but was denied. Awkward WWE fan moments. Liv Morgan was just trying to enjoy a basketball game, but some guy sat next to her and tried to start up a conversation. This dude was cheering for Cody Rhodes before it was cool. D-Generation X was beating Undertaker with a chair, but when they set it down, a fan in the front row tried to steal it, leading to a tug of war over the foreign object. When Kane debuted in 1997, the internet wasn't what it is today, so some fans mistakenly spelled Kane's name C-A-I-N. A fan didn't have a smartphone, so he brought his laptop to take pictures at the show. Why did so many wrestlers in the 90s always tuck in their shirts? Kevin Nash revealed that there was actually a practical reason for doing this.
If you're not tucked in, A, access to the fanny pack is greatly hindered. B, access to the pager greatly hindered.
A WWE fan made a wrestler cry. In September 2024, Zelina Vega was making her entrance when a sign in the crowd caught her attention. The sign read, "Michael Trinidad has the best seat in the house." Michael Trinidad is Zelina Vega's father and was working in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. Michael sadly died during the terrorist attacks, so when Vega saw the fan's sign, she got emotional. Mini Batista was a perv. In 2008, Vince McMahon put his illegitimate son Hornswoggle in a mini Royal Rumble match with only 6 wrestlers. However, it was very literal, as the participants were all mini versions of other wrestlers on the WWE roster. One of them was Mini Batista. While things on TV were fine, things backstage were not. According to Hornswoggle, Mini Batista was trying to take pictures with the female wrestlers. While Swoggle didn't share what exactly Mini Batista did, it was bad enough that he got kicked out of the arena. How much money did WWE pay Donald Trump for the Battle of the Billionaires storyline? In addition to appearing at WrestleMania, Trump also made multiple appearances on Monday Night Raw. WWE paid Donald Trump $4 million in total. However, Trump didn't keep any of it. He instead donated all of it to his charity, the Donald J. Trump Foundation. What happened to the money that fans gave Devon Dudley? In 2002, Devon became a singles competitor and started calling himself Reverend Devon. He would bring an offering plate with him to the ring, and fans would give real money. However, once he got backstage, John Bradshaw and Ron Simmons told Devon to give them the money. Since he didn't want to get in trouble, Devon gave the cash to Bradshaw and Simmons, who spent the money on beer.
Shawn Michaels' real first name is Michael, but Michael Cole's actual first name is Shawn. Wrestlers with surprising real names. The Human Suplex Machine Taz's real name is Peter, while Billy Gunn's is Monty Soft. When he's not wearing his mask, Rey Mysterio's name is Oscar Gutierrez. Kenny Omega's government name is Tyson Smith, and the Demon King Finn Balor's is Fergal Divot. Charlotte's real name is Ashley, and Bobby Lashley's real first name is actually Franklin. Seth freaking Rollins is really Kobe Daniel Lopez. However, Ricky Steamboat's real name is Richard Blood, or Dick Blood.
A fan gave Mandy Rose a zucchini and said to use it in case of an emergency. Weird gifts given to WWE wrestlers. Someone sent Bobby Lashley briefs with Bobby's name written on them. After winning the Tag Team Championship, McDonald's sent Big E a custom championship fanny pack that came with coupons for free food. A female fan gave The Undertaker a bottle filled with her blood because she felt sorry that Paul Bearer had betrayed him. This same fan later jumped the barricade and attacked Paul Bearer during a show. Luckily, Bearer was okay, and the girl was ejected from the arena. A 15-year-old boy accused Randy Orton of assaulting him. In January 2010, a teenager in Saugus, Massachusetts approached Orton as the Viper was leaving a restaurant. When the teen asked Randy for a picture, Orton allegedly got mad and spat gum at the 15-year-old and called him a derogatory name. The teenager reported the incident to the police, but a witness told a different story. According to a man who saw the incident, dozens of kids rushed over to Randy Orton as he left the restaurant, and they asked the WWE wrestler for pictures. When Orton declined, one of the kids started yelling profanities at him. According to the witness, Randy kept walking to his car and drove away. The court ruled there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with the case, and Randy Orton was not charged with a crime. Wrestling theme songs you own. MJF's theme song, Dig Deep, is a royalty-free song and you can sometimes hear it in random YouTube videos. Daniel Bryan's first WWE theme song, Ride of the Valkyries, is in the public domain. Likewise, the first theme song Damien Sandow used as the intellectual savior of the masses, Hallelujah Chorus, is in the public domain too. You can use Ric Flair's theme song for free as long as you get rid of the woo at the beginning. You can also use Triple H's theme song for $0, as long as it's his Hunter Hearst Helmsley theme. And, oh yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage's entrance theme, Pomp and Circumstance, is free to use too. This image looks AI generated, but it isn't. Cursed WWE images. Rey Mysterio with dreadlocks is a different look. Why is Rob Van Dam's right arm so much bigger than his left? Seeing Goldberg wearing long tights looks like we're witnessing an alternate reality. No disrespect to the Viper, but Randy Orton with long hair looks weird. Seeing John Cena perform a suicide dive is awesome, but a very odd thing to witness. We saw The Undertaker playing the PS5 before GTA 6. Speaking of video games, why does Dana Brooke look like she belongs in a Chucky movie? This flesh-colored attire that Rey Mysterio wore was an interesting choice. Mr. Perfect shaved X-Pac's eyebrows while he was asleep, resulting in this cursed picture. WWE wrestlers who were homeless. AJ Lee's family struggled with poverty, drug addiction, and mental illness. This led to them constantly moving between apartments, and it got so bad that at one point, AJ and her family were living in a car. In 1998, John Cena moved to California to pursue a career in wrestling. While he did have a job working at a gym, it wasn't enough to keep a roof over his head. Rather than go back home and move in with his parents, Cena chose to live in his car until he got signed by WWE in 2001. When The Rock was 14, he and his family were unable to pay rent and got evicted from their house in Honolulu, Hawaii. This led to Rock getting involved in theft and resulted in him getting arrested several times as a teenager. Why did Nikki Bella change the rack attack? Once Nikki Bella became a singles competitor, she started finishing off opponents by putting them on her shoulders and dropping down onto her knees. It looked great. However, the move was actually slowly breaking down her neck. It got so bad that Nikki Bella started feeling numbness in her feet and toes and even had trouble moving her legs. This forced Nikki Bella to change the rack attack to prevent further damage. During the 2025 Royal Rumble, a fan held up a sign that said, "The Sopranos Season 3 Episode 7, 28 minutes and 39 seconds. The Sopranos is a crime drama TV show, so what scene plays at that exact part?"
Oh, you're getting better. That's the important thing. You look better, too.
If you're gonna lie to me, tell me there's a broad waiting in the car. I want to tongue my balls.
Hey, you want that? It's a phone call away.
The first and last people to hold wrestling championships. The first ECW champion was Jimmy Snuka, who won the title in 1992. Almost 2 decades later, Ezekiel Jackson won the ECW championship and became the last man to hold the title. The first person to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship was Ric Flair in 1991. 10 years later, Chris Jericho would be the final wrestler to hold the title. Mankind was given the Hardcore Championship in 1998 by Vince McMahon. The title changed hands 230 times over the course of 4 years, until Rob Van Dam won the Hardcore Championship and unified it with the Intercontinental title. Over a decade and a half later, Mick Foley introduced the 24/7 Championship. Titus O'Neil was the first champion, but lost the title in 25 seconds. Over 3 years later, Nikki Cross won the title and threw the championship in the trash, cementing herself as the final 24/7 champion. WWE fans were banned from buying this action figure after an embarrassing mistake was discovered. This toy of Stephanie McMahon was released during the Attitude Era and it looked normal at first. However, once fans took the figure out of the box, they discovered that Stephanie wasn't wearing any underwear. The action figure was soon recalled, and WWE collectors began referring to this toy as Party Stephanie McMahon. The Undertaker laughed during Drew McIntyre's tryout match. In 2007, Drew wasn't a signed wrestler, but he had gotten a tryout with WWE. He was working in the ring before a show, and The Undertaker was ringside with someone else. Suddenly, The Undertaker laughed, and McIntyre worried that The Undertaker thought he was terrible. Drew still got signed, and years later, he learned that The Undertaker's laughter wasn't directed at him. However, McIntyre remembered how it felt, and to this day, he makes sure not to laugh when someone is having a WWE tryout. Anyone who says WWE wrestlers aren't real athletes has never seen this clip. During the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 35, Chad Gable was supposed to give a series of German suplexes to Andrade at a specific moment. However, right before that, Luke Harper, not realizing that Gable's spot was coming up, tried a single leg takedown on Chad Gable. Gable was not only able to counter it, but was also able to tell Harper he had to go, and he still hit his cue on time. When Triple H sets his opponent up for the pedigree, it makes the shape of a lowercase h. WWE facts hiding in plain sight. Did you know Umaga had a tattoo of his cousin Yokozuna on his right arm? The paint on the right side of Jeff Hardy's face is a painting of another face. On Undertaker's big evil logo, the word Deadman is spelled out on the devil's forehead. The redesigned WCW logo has a hidden WCW inside it. Braun Strowman's name is a play on words. Braun means muscular strength, and Strowman is a phonetic pun for strongman. Sting's finisher is called the Scorpion Deathlock because a scorpion stings you, and Sting bends his opponent's legs into the shape of a scorpion's tail. This part of the WWE barricade now has a name. In backstage footage of the 2025 Royal Rumble, Triple H is heard saying,
Tell Jay to bring his son in. He's in the Shield corner. Green shirt.
When Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns made their WWE debut in 2012, they called themselves The Shield. Instead of entering on the stage like everyone else, Dean, Seth, and Roman would walk through the crowd and down into the ring. With Triple H now controlling WWE, he decided to name this part of the arena after The Shield. What happened to Kane's eye? If you look closely, you'll see that the Big Red Machine's right eye is different from his left. In storyline, Kane survived a house fire when he was a child. The incident left Kane physically damaged, and that included him losing his right eye. The eye that fans saw was prosthetic, and that's why it looked different from Kane's left. In real life, Kane's eyes are fine, and he would just wear a special contact to make his right eye look sinister. However, Kane wouldn't wear the contact when he became Corporate Kane, making this a continuity issue. This WWE show was cursed. Exactly 11 years after WWE's infamous Over the Edge event, where wrestler Owen Hart fell to his death, WWE hosted another pay-per-view event. This show was ironically called Over the Limit and featured the wrestler Edge on the poster. During the event, a total of 5 wrestlers got legitimately injured. Ted DiBiase suffered a concussion after receiving a hard slap to the face. CM Punk accidentally got busted open, and he ultimately needed 13 staples to close the wound. During the main event, both John Cena and Batista got injured. Cena got busted open after being power slammed through a table and also lost a tooth during the course of the match. At the end of the fight, John Cena gave Batista an attitude adjustment through the stage. Even though the stage was rigged, the stunt still caused Batista to injure his back and tailbone. However, the most bizarre injury happened to Randy Orton. During the Vipers match against Edge, Orton started pounding the mat as usual. However, Randy's arm suddenly went limp, and it was later found that Orton had dislocated it. Kelly, who is 38 in 2025, is younger than Charlotte Flair, who is 39. WWE facts that don't seem real. Jeff Hardy has never won a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Before Kane debuted in 1997, there was a wrestler in WCW also called Kane. Ironically, both Kanes would be associated with fire, as WCW's Kane was one half of the tag team Harlem Heat. Arn Anderson retired from his in-ring career before the age of 40. Ric Flair has never won a singles match at WrestleMania, but Michael Cole has. Jake the Snake never won any championships in WWE or WCW. The word for dinner in Spanish is Cena, so John Cena's name translates to John Dinner. This is why Randy Orton hated Matt Riddle. While in a WWE locker room, Randy met Riddle for the first time. Orton verbally acknowledged Matt Riddle, expecting him to say something back. However, Riddle merely glanced at Orton and kept walking without saying anything. Matt Riddle also had bloodshot eyes, so you can guess what kind of state he was in. However, Orton thought Matt Riddle was being disrespectful, and he didn't like him for a while. Things eventually smoothed over, and the two even became tag team champions together. This WWE wrestler nearly quit and opened a Subway. In 2014, Jinder Mahal was released from his WWE contract. Mahal had lost his confidence and motivation and wasn't sure what he was going to do. He thought about opening a Subway restaurant and just wrestling part-time. However, Jinder Mahal decided he was too young and realized it was now or never. Mahal started putting in the work and eventually returned to WWE and later won the WWE Championship. How much water has Triple H used in his entire career? Starting in 1998, Triple H made spitting water a signature part of his entrance. Based on observation, Triple H likely puts 2 to 4 ounces of water in his mouth, so on average, the game spat 3 ounces or 88.72 milliliters of liquid per entrance. Between when he started spitting water and when he retired from his in-ring career at WrestleMania 38, Triple H competed in over 600 matches. Excluding Royal Rumbles, Battle Royals, and other matches where Triple H didn't get a full entrance, the game has spat water 643 times. Doing the math, that's 15.1 gallons or 57 liters of water that has come flying out of Triple H's mouth. To put that in perspective, Triple H could fill about 9 toilets with his spit water. When WCW went to Germany, the production team got set the wrong version of the NWO theme song, so the sound guys improvised.
New world order. For life. New world order. For life.
This famous WWE fan has grown up, and you won't believe what she looks like today. During Bayley's time in NXT, a young girl regularly attended the shows. The fan's name was Izzy, and she sort of looked like a mini version of Bayley. Fast forward to today, and Izzy is now 17 years old. Not only that, but she's laced up her boots and gotten in the ring, bearing a striking resemblance to the star she waited in line to see as a child. This WWE wrestler was on the road for 3 months straight, but didn't get paid a single dollar. In 1993, WWE had Lex Luger travel across the United States on a bus called the Lex Express. Luger would make appearances and do interviews during the entire summer, but he was never paid. The reason WWE didn't pay Lex Luger was because, at the time, wrestlers only got paid when they wrestled. The only expense WWE covered during the Lex Express tour were Luger's hotels.
One of the worst parts about going to a WWE show is when someone in front of you holds up a sign and blocks your view. But this man came up with a genius way to deal with that. Sean Benson liked bringing signs to wrestling shows, but didn't want to obscure anyone's view, so he created a see-through sign. The sign uses a perforated decal material that has a bunch of small holes that allow light to pass through. This allows the front side to look like a solid graphic, but makes the back almost invisible.
Nobody knows who this woman is. For years, this image of The Undertaker with an old lady has circulated online. People have claimed it's The Undertaker's mother, while others have said it's his grandma. The dead man himself, though, confirmed that's not true. However, The Undertaker has no idea who that woman is or why he is in that house. This WWE backstage prank was so cruel that it actually caused someone to cry. In the early 2000s, Jonathan Coachman was working as an interviewer and host for WWE. Backstage, WWE wrestlers would bet on football games, and Coachman was the one in charge of organizing it and collecting the money. One day, Jonathan Coachman was backstage at a WWE show when two police officers approached him. The cops told Coachman that they were informed that he was running an illegal gambling pool and that it was a felony. Because of this, Coachman was arrested and taken away. On the way out of the arena, the police and Jonathan Coachman stopped by Vince McMahon's office to tell him what was happening. McMahon then became irate and started cussing out Coachman, telling him he was irresponsible. This went on for 45 minutes, and Coachman started to cry. When the police officer told McMahon it would cost $1,500 to bail Coachman out, McMahon said, "F no, he's on his own." Once it was over, Coachman asked if he could have something to cover his face, and McMahon threw a pair of sweaty gym shorts at him. Coachman was then placed in the police car and driven away. Coachman was still crying, believing that his career was over. However, the police car drove back to the arena, and once they got back, Vince McMahon and all the wrestlers were outside laughing, and Coachman was informed that it was all a prank. In 2025, WWE has been called WWE longer than it was called WWF. WWE facts that'll make you feel old. On October 24th, 2025, Dean Ambrose will have spent more time in AEW than he did in WWE. In 2025, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker are both 60 years old. Monday Night Raw has been broadcast in HD longer than it hasn't. Mark Henry and Mae Young's son is now 25 years old. Tiffany Stratton was inspired to get into wrestling because of Charlotte Flair. TNA has been around longer than WCW and ECW combined. These are the first things WWE posted on their social media accounts. WWE made its first tweet on July 2nd, 2008, sharing a link to watch a match between Mark Henry and Colin Delaney. WWE's first Facebook post was on November 8th, 2007, and was a video promoting that year's Survivor Series pay-per-view. Similarly, the first video posted to WWE's YouTube channel was a video hyping up the 2008 No Way Out pay-per-view. At 4:01 a.m. on June 25th, 2007, Chris Benoit's Wikipedia page was updated to say that Benoit's wife, Nancy, had died. The only problem was that police didn't discover Nancy's body until 2:30 p.m. that day. Authorities then traced the IP address of the user who made the Wikipedia edit to Stamford, Connecticut, the same place WWE's headquarters were located. The man who made the edit was a 19-year-old college student named Matthew Greenberg. Greenberg claimed he found several rumors online about Nancy Benoit's death, which led him to make the post on the Wikipedia page. It was also discovered that the 19-year-old had a history of vandalizing Wikipedia pages. Regardless, the police seized Greenberg's computer, but ultimately, no charges were filed. Why do WWE wrestlers always remove the monitors before putting their opponent through the commentary table? It's actually because they will lose money if they break them. Former WWE wrestler The Hurricane revealed that the monitors WWE uses are expensive, and if a wrestler breaks or damages them, the money to fix them is taken from the wrestler's salary. This WWE wrestler appeared in SpiderMan Homecoming. In the post-credits scene, the villain of the movie, the Vulture, is in prison, with two lines of inmates walking beside him. One of the inmates is Austin Theory, who said that the producers warned him not to touch the prison bars along the wall. That's because they were filming in a real prison and didn't want to rally up the actual inmates. These WWE wrestlers are grandpas. Kane got married in 1995 and became the stepfather to his wife's two daughters from a previous relationship. Since then, the Big Red Machine's family has grown, and he now has two grandchildren. Batista can also add grandfather to his list of accolades. The Animal has 3 children, and one of his daughters is a mother. Batista was actually in his late 30s when he became a grandparent because his daughter got pregnant at the age of 16. The 6-time world champion struggled with this and credits Eddie Guerrero for helping him through it. Brock Lesnar is a beast and a grandpa. Lesnar's wife is former WWE valet Sable. Sable's daughter from a previous marriage started a family, making Lesnar a grandfather when he was in his mid-40s.
Hulk Hogan wasn't the first wrestler to use Real American. It was actually Bray Wyatt's father and uncle, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham.
From Syracuse, New York, weighing
Recycled WWE theme songs. A wrestler named Pat Tanaka used Goldberg's theme song before Demand debuted.
I'm going through his pockets. Nitro in the month of March, coming to Panama.
Before Kurt Angle, a different type of Patriot used his theme song, The Patriot.
And here he comes, the man who could very well be the next WWF.
WWE created Brock Lesnar's theme song not for him, but instead for a football team. In 2001, WWE launched the XFL Football League and created entrance music for all the teams, including the Chicago Enforcers.
What was really inside Eddie Guerreros' Bedtime Stories book? In 2005, Eddie was feuding with Rey Mysterio over the custody of Rey's son, Dominic. During this, Eddie would read from a book that revealed that Dominic was his biological son, not Rey's. However, this is what was actually inside the book. The book was actually a copy of Mick Foley's book, Tales from Reskull Lane. WWE just covered the front with paper. However, the actual story that Eddie read was placed inside the book so that he didn't have to memorize it. Female wrestlers who refused to do Playboy. Nikki and Bella got an offer to do a topless photo shoot, but turned it down because it wasn't something they aspired to do and out of respect for their family. In 1996, Sunny was the most downloaded celebrity and got an offer to appear in Playboy. However, she turned it down pretty quickly because she was in her 20s and wasn't emotionally ready to handle it. In hindsight, she said she should have done it. Melina turned down a Playboy offer for a number of reasons, including that she didn't want her father or brother to see her like that and to save herself for her partner. Trish Stratus received multiple offers to be in Playboy, but said no because she wanted her in-ring work to take precedent over her sex appeal. Brock Lesnar surprised a female wrestler backstage. B-Fab said that when she met Brock Lesnar for the first time, she was expecting Lesnar to be mean and standoffish. However, Lesnar actually shook her hand and welcomed her. Brock was very polite and soft-spoken, which B-Fab was not expecting. This female wrestler was working a part-time job even after winning a championship. Taylor Wilde debuted in TNA in May 2007, and in less than 2 months, she had won the Knockouts Championship. However, during this time, Taylor also worked a part-time job at a sunglasses shop. Despite how it might appear, the reason Taylor Wilde was working a part-time job wasn't because she wasn't getting paid enough. Taylor had already worked at the sunglasses shop before getting signed by TNA. TNA didn't travel like WWE and didn't have as many events. Because of this, Taylor's schedule was light and she was only working 4 to 6 days a month. TNA was paying her a living wage, but since she already had the sunglasses job and her schedule was so light, Taylor decided to keep it to make a little extra money. That was until a customer asked if she was the TNA Knockouts champion. Once Taylor got recognized, she quit working at the sunglasses shop that day. This WWE wrestler hated his theme song, so he found a genius way to stop listening to it. In the early to mid 2010s, WWE would film multiple episodes of NXT in one day. This meant that wrestlers had to perform their entrances multiple times. Tyson Kidd was one of them, and after hearing his theme song 7 times in under 4 hours, he couldn't take it anymore. Kidd decided to start wearing his headphones and would play hip-hop songs. The artists Tyson Kidd would listen to include 50 Cent and Tupac. Did you know that WCW didn't legally die until 2017? When Ted Turner purchased Jim Crockett Promotions in 1988, he rebranded it to World Championship Wrestling. However, the company's legal name was Universal Wrestling Corporation for financial, legal, and tax purposes. In 2001, WWE bought the WCW brand and all its assets, but they did not purchase the Universal Wrestling Corporation. The Universal Wrestling Corporation stayed active within Turner Time Warner. The reason was to deal with legal obligations and liabilities that WWE did not acquire. The Universal Wrestling Corporation stayed alive for 16 years, but once all legal and financial obligations were done, the company was officially dissolved, which legally ended WCW. You don't see it, but this opening pyro was actually a beautiful tribute. Brian Hildebrand isn't someone most wrestling fans know, but he was beloved backstage. Hildebrand worked both as a wrestler and manager, but found the most success as a referee. He started working as a ref for WCW in the mid-90s, but would receive life-altering news in 1997. Hildebrand was diagnosed with cancer, and while he would have surgery to remove it, the disease wouldn't go away. Sadly, about 2 years later, Brian Hildebrand died. His body was cremated, and as a tribute, WCW put his ashes into their opening pyro so that Brian could be part of the show one last time. This song wasn't actually Eric Bischoff's first WWE theme song. When Bischoff made his WWE debut in 2002, he entered to a different tune.
I cannot believe this! That's when he was with Devlin on Eric Bischoff!
Bischoff originally used AC/DC's iconic Back in Black when he made his WWE debut. However, WWE later made an original song for Eric Bischoff so they wouldn't have to keep paying expensive licensing fees. Why do female wrestlers' legs look weird? The reason is that female wrestlers wear stockings or pantyhose under their ring gear. This hides bruises, blemishes, or any other imperfections. The tights also act as a safety net and help prevent a wardrobe malfunction.
This is how Big Show stole money from WCW and got away with it. In the mid-90s, Big Show was signed to World Championship Wrestling, but was being underpaid. At the same time, he went to do motion capturing work for a WCW video game. He then got a check for his work and was shocked at how much it was. Suspecting that WCW's accounting department made a mistake, the Giant acted fast. He cashed the check, but split the money into separate bank accounts. After doing that, Big Show got a call from WCW saying that there was a mistake with the check they sent to him and that he wasn't supposed to get the full amount. The world's largest athlete showed them his bank account and made it look like the money from the check was used to pay off debt.